All right, welcome into the Fantasy Fling Daily Drafts Pod. Right now, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the past couple of weeks, week 6, week 7, weekly winners, what won, and then we're going to look at kind of the daily drafts as well. So the week 6 slate, the week 7 main slate, and then we're going to jump right into week 8 strategy, do a live draft, have a little bit of fun. So let's go ahead and start with week 6. The Battle Royale, and then we'll do the goal line stand. So the Battle Royale is going to be the big one. Almost 68,000 entries, $5 entry fee. And first place, 138 points. So not nearly as high as you would expect. Kind of a lower scoring week. But let's look at the first place lineup. So this was, this was week 6. So this was the Miami Dolphins going against Carolina Panthers, and that was the sack that took it down. Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, and no bringbacks. And by the way, these scores are lower, quite low, as you will see, compared to like the weekly winners, because these are the daily drafts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots, as opposed to like 9, for example. So scores will be quite a bit lower. But yeah, we had a Tua stack, no bringback. And then it looks like it was Travis Etienne, Raheem Mostert, actually Tua with Raheem Mostert and Tyreek Hill. So a little bit of an onslaught stack, no bring back. And Amon-Ra and Travis Etienne, and then Kyle Pitts. So that's what took down the top spot. Second spot, looking like the same thing. Tua, Raheem Mostert, Tyreek Hill. And that's kind of a trend you see with a lot of these daily drafts, is you're going to get a lot of the same builds towards the top. It's the top 5. You pretty much just see the exact same type of builds, because that was what everyone was on that week to win, right? That was the best stack. So Adam Thielen, now this one did have a bring back. So I like that. Adam Thielen has been just getting so many targets on this season. It's been really unreal. His target share is 26%. So no one really expected him to have this kind of resurgence this year. But then you also had TJ Hawkinson at tight end. You had Amon-Ra as looking like a one-off. Yeah. So a couple one-offs there. And then let's take a look at third place. Tua, Mostert, Hills, same thing with an Adam Thielen bring back, and then same exact thing. You had an Amon-Ra and a TJ Hawkinson one-off. So really great stuff there. And then let's kind of go back to the goal line stand. This is a smaller contest, much more winnable. Only 5,000 entries here, a little bit higher of an entry fee, but much more winnable. As you can see, the points that won the first place here, 125 points versus 138. And that's just kind of the law of large numbers. You're going to get closer to the average. The player combinations there's so many in 68,000 entries versus 5,000. So these contests will always have lower scores. They're much more winnable. But the top lineup, we had Jared Goff and Jared Goff and Amon-Ra stack. And then Raheem Mostert and an Adam Thielen little ping pong stack there. So I like this lineup. Chris Godwin and Kyle Pitts. So, taking a piece from that game without stacking that game that you knew was going to be popular. And it ended up working out here. So, won 4,000. This lineup did the same thing. Similar, right? So Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and it had just a Tyreek Hill, just taking a piece of that game, no stack, but just Tyreek Hill. And then also had Kyron Williams, and this was before he got hurt, and Zach Moss and Kyle Pitts as one-offs there. So good stuff on that lineup. We got Jared Goff, Amon-Ra again. And then Raheem Mostert is a one-off, which specifically with running backs, they don't need to be stacked, because they can create a lot on their own. And then Christian Kirk, Samuel, and Schultz. So does not look like there was any other stacks outside of the Jared Goff plus Amon-Ra in that game. And that was one that won third place. So good on that. So let's go ahead and look at, in fact, I think it's going to be live best ball as a daily. This is one of my things that drives me nuts about Underdog. I love Underdog, but they need to make their stuff like a little easier to navigate. So let's go look at the weekly winners for weekly winners. Okay. I want to see what won week 7 and then week 6 as well. So we're in week 8, of course. So let's start with week 6. All right. Now this is obviously this is a DFS meets best ball format. You draft an entire team, and that team restarts every week. So it's DFS every single week. So you have to draft with that in mind. Like, how am I going to attack this? Am I going to, overstack one week? Am I just going to, have some good stacks that I want to target that I know are going to have enough spike weeks that can maybe put me in the nuts? There's a lot of different strategies to attack this slate. That's why I want to just kind of look at it and see what is working each and every week. Because this is something that I want to heavily target this offseason going into next year's weekly winners contest. So obviously, if you were able to pull off a Tua and Tyreek Hill stack, you put yourself in a position to win a lot of money. So that this is going to show, because it's the current week, right? It's going to say winning $0, but this is a lineup that won the $20,000. So it scored 168 points, had Tua, Tyreek Hill, and then so they were going against Carolina. So actually had Bryce Young, but he wasn't included in that. Raheem Mostert, but nonetheless, the thought process here. Yeah, Bryce Young wasn't included in this stack because you're only going to get one quarterback. But if the game is potentially shooting out, you're going to get more now out of Tua because, they're going to be able to push the pace a little bit more than just, handing the ball off, which, oh, by the way, they did that too. So Tua, Raheem Mostert, Tyreek Hill, and then this also had Travis Etienne in there. Chuba Hubbard almost made his way in. He almost did a little bit better than Etienne. And then, there's the other side, Adam Thielen, right? So you had Tua, Raheem Mostert, Tyreek Hill, and Adam Thielen. And Keenan Allen was the other wide receiver in that build. Travis Etienne, obviously, is a one-off. There was no stacks. So let's go ahead and look at second place. Dak stack. There we go. So Raheem Mostert and Breece Hall, Tyreek Hill, Adam Thielen, Michael Pittman. Zach stacked with wow. So Dak was a one-off. Los Angeles Chargers. Are there any Chargers in this stack? No. That's crazy. But there was a Raheem Mostert and Tyreek Hill stack. That's a team stack there. And actually, you did have Adam Thielen. So sometimes you don't necessarily have to make everything work in the stack. There just needs to be a stack. It doesn't necessarily always need to be the quarterback for this type of format, right? We'll see this in DFS on DraftKings and FanDuel. Maybe your quarterback that week was Russell Wilson, or maybe it was Brock Purdy, because you weren't able to get, specifically in this kind of format, you weren't able to you got sniped on your quarterback, right? Well, you're still like, well, I still want to get pieces of that game. So sometimes just the running back and the wide receiver can get there. We see that in Millie Maker winning builds, for example. So, and you see it here. That's exactly what happened. So great lineup, was able to get a game stack without the quarterback. And then Dak had a good enough week so that it didn't matter. So that's Backo. And then let's look at move, mount, shoot. Third place, and we'll go over to week 7, and then we'll get started on week 8. So Dak Prescott, are we going to see the same thing here? So this one had CeeDee Lamb. So that's the difference. But also had another stack, Adam Thielen and Raheem Mostert. So the little ping pong stack there. And then let's see ETN. Yeah, no one else. Except maybe a tight end. Yep. And we got Gerald Everett, actually. So Dak plus CeeDee Lamb with a Gerald Everett bring back. And then you did have the Mostert and Thielen stack. And then you had Cooper Kupp. And who was the other guy? Travis Etienne has one-offs. So great lineup. Let's go ahead and pop to week 7. And then let's do a draft for week 8 and finish this thing up. So week 7. 194 points. High scoring week for EJ. So Mahomes. And you know Kelsey's going to be in it, right? Or Rashee Rice. So Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce. Kelce, 29 points. Rashee Rice, 14. Addison, 27. Romeo Dobbs, 10. And then let's see if we had any other stacks at running back. No, just Alvin Kamara and Donta Foreman. So 2 guys that combined for over, almost 54 points. Really good on them. So great winning builds here. And second place is a few spots behind. Lamar Jackson. Is there an Andrews? Yep. Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, Jordan Addison, Puka Nacua, Cortland Sutton. No other stacks. So just Mark Andrews to Lamar. Donta Foreman is a one-off. Travis Etienne is a one-off. And then Jordan Addison, Puka Nacua, and Cortland Sutton. So great lineup there. Now let's look at this last one. So Mahomes, Foreman, Kamara, Evans, MVS, Jacoby Myers. I bet it has Kelce. Yep, Travis Kelce. So, pretty weak at wide receiver here as far as like a GPP winning score. So, that's really what crushed this lineup to being able to make it to the nuts. But overall, with Kelce, Foreman, Kamara, and Mahomes, it's a great lineup. So good stuff. Let's go ahead and jump into week 8 Battle Royale. Let's draft this one. Waiting for 3 people. Okay. So hopefully this will go pretty good. I'm going to kind of run through some of the plays that I really like this week. I have a cash sheet over at dfsarmy.com. This is something I do for DFS Army for DraftKings each week. So I'm going to go through some of my plays that I really like that we're going to look to target here. So let's go ahead and do that. Well, we got a few seconds here before we pick. So it looks like I'm in the 1.2. All right, so a couple guys that I will probably be looking to target in this spots. I don't love Tyreek Hill this week, even though I think he's a great play. From this spot, though, I think probably Jamar Chase or A.J. Brown is where I'm leaning. I actually will try to get a Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown stack if it's possible. If not, I might just kind of do what we just saw. So Christian McCaffrey went first. So I'll go like A.J. Brown right here. I think you could also go I definitely think you could go Travis Kelce, but I like A.J. Brown a little bit better in this spot. But I think let's say I miss out on Jalen Hurts. I think you could definitely do like an A.J. Brown, DeAndre Swift stack, kind of like we saw in some of those top lineups. Raheem Mostert and Tyreek Hill if you miss out on your quarterback. So that'll probably be my general strategy. So Christian McCaffrey, A.J. Brown, Kelce, there went Kelce. But, at quarterback, some of those guys that I really like this week, Jalen Hurts, I also do like Patrick Mahomes. I like Lamar Jackson. I think these guys are all in really good spots. Patrick Mahomes going against a Denver D that's been bad. Lamar Jackson. Who's Baltimore got this week? Oh yeah, they got Arizona, one of the worst pass defenses in the league. Top, not like bad, but like top 10 essentially. So, and Lamar Jackson, we know he can create with his legs, with the pass. So he's a guy that I think they have a 27-point implied team total. So I like Lamar as well at quarterback. So Patrick Mahomes going against Denver, 26.75 team total. Um, Lamar Jackson, 27 implied team total. And, these are guys that are Lamar Jackson's averaging 23 points a game. Mahomes, 23.6 points a game. And then the last guy for me, Jalen Hurts, even above those two guys, would be a guy that's averaging 24 points a game. And they are projected to win going against a Philly or a Washington defense that is bottom 5 in the league. So I love that spot there for Jalen Hurts as well. All right, so Kelsey, Tua, Cup, Chase, Mahomes, Hurts. So that were Hurts. He's gone. And now I'm back on the clock. Could I do Lamar Jackson and then maybe come around and get Mark Andrews? I didn't expect Lamar to fall to me. So I think that's where we're going to go here. And then I'm up in a few picks anyway. So, yeah, if Mark Andrews is there, I will force that stack. And then there's some running backs that I'll be looking to target the rest of the way. If he is not there, I think, yeah, he just went. I would take ETN here or Pollard. And then I'm going to try to target Zay Flowers down the road. Jonathan Taylor, that is an interesting pick. So I'm going to go Travis Etienne here. Jonathan Taylor is in a time share right now, and it's a pretty good spot, but I don't expect the workload to really adjust to Jonathan Taylor. So I don't love that pick, but it is what it is. So you gotta make a pivot somewhere to win a GPP. So it's a good chance Zay Flowers will be gone when I pick. And, with taking a quarterback like Lamar, I'm perfectly fine with that kind of risk because Lamar can create enough with his legs that maybe he doesn't need to be sacked. So kind of like we saw with that Dak Prescott lineup. I think that was maybe the week that Dak had a rushing touchdown. It was running the ball a little bit. I will try to get Zay Flowers, but I missed out on Zay Flowers. I missed out on Mark Andrews. I'm not going to force a stack. But let's go to top running backs that I like. I like Tony Pollard. I think that's a great matchup for Tony Pollard this week going against the Rams. It's a decent matchup. You're at home. They have a 25.75 implied team total, and it's 45.5-point game total. He gets passes out of the backfield. So, I think he could certainly do a lot worse than Tony Pollard. I had that situation, though, where I could have picked Pollard or ETN. I like ETN a lot better this week. He's going against Pittsburgh defense that's is bottom 4 in the league against the run. They're favored, so I like that. ETN, he's got like 700 all-purpose yards this year. He's got over 500 rushing yards, 196 receiving yards. He's got a lot of touchdowns, so he gets work in both the passing game and the running game. So I really like that. So we got after ETN, we got Puka Nacua, CeeDee Lamb, Isaiah Pacheco, Thielen, Pollard, Mostert, Ayuk, Addison. I am on the clock. Oh my gosh, Zay Flowers is there. So that's going to be the pick for me. And then I'll be up again shortly. Okay. So do I want Swift? Do I want Nico, Devonta? I do like Swift, as I talked about earlier. So I think that's where I'm going to go. DeAndre Swift. And that will, let's kind of look at my team right here. So I got Lamar Jackson, I got Travis Etienne, DeAndre Swift. So I was able to get a Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers stack with also a secondary stack here of DeAndre Swift and AJ Brown. So really, all I need right now is tight end. Love Etienne and Swift as my running backs. Love Lamar as my quarterback. Really like the way this draft has fallen to me. I think at tight end, there's a couple guys. God, I don't think Dallas Goddard will be there. So I don't think TJ Hawkinson will be there either. So I'm going to look at some guys in good matchups. In fact, let me go to my tight ends that I have this week. Travis Kelce, Trey McBride's the guy I think that's going to get some elevated work now that Zach Ertz is out. So I actually love Trey McBride. If he's there, he could be my pick. There's still some good tight ends on the board, though, that I would probably target over him with higher upside, like Darren Waller. That would be a guy I would go for. And wide receivers, it's Tyreek Hill, Shamar Chase, the usual suspects, of course. I like Adam Thielen, but he's already gone. He's been really good. AJ Brown. Tank Dell is a guy that could be going a little bit under the radar with Robert Woods out. So I like him as well. If I'm looking for another tight end, let's see what's left. In fact, just at tight end. So Nico Collins, Devonta Smith, Christian Kirk, all these guys I think are really great plays. Calvin Ridley's done nothing for a while, but with a stack with ETN, I could certainly see that. Also, a little ping pong stack with George Pickens, you could throw against Jacksonville. So I think Pickens could be my pick here if he is still available, which we're just one away and I'm on the clock. So let's see where it's at. So Derek Carr, Evan Ingram. Do I do 3 players? I don't know. From Philly, that seems a little much for me. Yeah, well, I had to take Goddard. So the thing with Goddard is he is one of the best tight end plays. And, now I have 3 Eagles, which typically that's not something I want to do without the quarterback. But one of them is a running back for sure. And I could still get there. I think if Lamar has a big day, Philly has a big day, you have enough of the pieces. Lamar runs some in, of course, and I could certainly see Philly just blowing the doors off Washington in this game. So we'll see how this works out. But nonetheless, I got one more spot to pick. The last several picks went TJ Hawkinson, George Kittle, Damian Pierce, who he's actually got a pretty good matchup this week. Nico Collins, Evan Ingram, Derek Carr, and then I took Goddard. And looks like this guy timed out. Or no, actually, I think that's going to be the end of the draft. So, he was the way it snaked around. He was the last pick of the draft. So, ended up with Lamar, Travis Etienne, DeAndre Swift, AJ Brown, Zay Flowers, and Dallas Goddard. So, overall, this lineup does have a ton of upside, tons of star players. And, one thing I do like about this is the fact that I was able to get DeAndre Swift, AJ Brown, and Dallas Goddard. So if they really beat the doors off of Washington, I think this lineup is not one that I'm expecting to be duplicated. Most people just don't want to stomach 1, 2, 3 players from the same team without any sort of forced bring back. But also was able to get Lamar and Zay Flowers stacked. So, I think this lineup is going to be unique, and that's what I love about it for a contest of this size for 68,000 people. And, I think that's probably going to wrap it up. A couple of the other plays that, I think would be some great values late that you can target in your draft. Take Dell. I expect him to get an elevated role this week. Josh Downs, he's had a good connection with Gardner Minshew, and he's probably a guy you can get, in the last round of your draft. He might not even get drafted in some spots. So I like that. Kendrick Bourne is seeing a lot of elevated targets. And last but not least, at quarterback, Sam Darnold. So there is specifically right now, I would probably just draft Sam Darnold because there's so much uncertainty whether he's going to get the start or if it's going to be Brock Purdy. Those are two guys I would probably target at the very end of drafts. If you're going to do a lot of drafts, just do some drafts with Purdy, some with Darnold. It's kind of like your last round quarterbacks, and you could certainly leverage the field because a lot of people are not going to want to play them. So that's going to wrap it up, though. Thank you for watching the show with me, and I will be back next week to review how we did, how Walt won, and back for your week 9 preview. So best of luck